Hi, everyone. Today we're going to talk about taking attendance, which, as you know, is one of the most important things we have to do as faculty in terms of our admin. For the attendance is incredibly important, taking the register, because it ensures that we know which students were in class, which is crucial for our visa compliance with UKVI. And if we were to be audited, to have a firm record of who was in class or who was not in class. And that is a key and important thing to remember when we're taking attendance. Attendance, the register that we are taking, is not necessarily about why the student wasn't in class, right? It's just noting where they physically were. So even if a student has the flu and they've had a they have diagnosed the flu from a GP and we're told not to come to class for 5 days, while we as humans can factor that in when calculating their grade, we still need to mark them absent, right? Because they were not in class. And that is incredibly important from the admin side of our study abroad experience. So I will share my screen and just go over have a brief tutorial with everyone to just show you the ins and outs of attendance and how really easy it is to do. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so as of now, you can see my screen. So I started off in my study. So first, I will log into my study. And then we go to faculty resources, attendance and CELCAT. And then you want to click on this CELCAT timetabler. Using this link, you will be able to record both today's and overdue attendance. So ideally, the best practice is that we record our attendance every single day when we walk into class, right at the beginning. But obviously, life gets in the way. We can be on a co-curricular, or just something happens and you don't do it till the next day. That's fine. Not ideal, but totally fine. You can do that in CELCAT as well through the same link. So just click on the correct year, and then we just log into CELCAT. My password is saved. It's just going to log us in. And then at the top, you go to View, My Registers, Today's Registers or Overdue Registers. We're going to go to Today's Register for this tutorial. But if you were taking a register from yesterday, you would go to Overdue Registers. Now, here is my sample class for us. Now, there are a few options for attendance. There is present, late, absent. The rest of these, do not use them ever. They are not to be used. There is under no circumstances do we have online delivery. This was a COVID thing that we're getting rid of, that will be gone from your CELCAT hopefully by spring of 25. The only ones we should ever be filling in are present, late, and absence. Okay, so present, quite straightforward. They're present. Late, you can then put in this little feature where you tell me how many minutes they are. So are they 5 minutes late? Are they 20 minutes late? Right? That's a big difference. Then you can also add in a comment. Okay, so this is quite important for if you did know that the student, they told you that they were, that they had a interview for an internship, right? And that they were just coming late to class, which we know is an excuse apps, which is something that we would excuse them for. But it's still, again, we have to note it down. So you would write internship interview, and then you would have that for the future when you're maybe calculating your grades later on to remember, oh, well, why was a student late or why was a student absent, right? Let's also say student one, totally absent. And they might have told you that they had the flu. So out sick, right? That we have this information. Um, Another dandy tool that you can use is this button up here. You click on the student, right? Click this little gray student over all the students' names, and you hit select all. And this way, if you have a class of like 25 students and only one is absent, you can mark all as present. And then I can just go back and change one to absent, right? Or change one to late. Because let's say student 2 and student 3 are present in class. And And that's just sort of like a helpful way to do it. Then when you finish, you just tick this little green box up here for submit, and the register is submitted. And you can see that it has now changed from the circle being empty to being blue, meaning that you've completed your register. And um, yeah, so that's really it. It's really quite simple, really handy to have these tools where you can add in some notes. Let's say a student even told you afterwards why they were absent. If you just want to add in these notes, again, really quite useful. Just make sure you save it, and then we can exit out. And just again to show you, if you had an overdue register, which I don't have, it would be here waiting for you. If you do have an overdue register, you should get an email the next day reminding you that you haven't filled out your register. If for some reason you don't get those emails, do let the administrative team or myself and the academic team know, and we will help sort that out because they're quite useful as reminders, especially when we were doing co-curriculars and we're out and about. If taking the register on your phone is quite difficult. So yeah, that's it. But again, this is a very important tutorial in that we just taking attendance is super important. If you have any questions, please be in touch and have a great semester.